What is happening, y'all? It has been a very long time since I've made a video, and I get a lot of emails, people asking if I'm dead. I'm not dead. I just haven't put out videos for a while. The truth is I have a lot of content. It covers a lot of stuff. Truthfully, I think that if you have been going through treatment, you start to realize as you're getting more and more freedom from OCD that you don't need to know that much. And so part of me feels conflicted about continuing to put videos out with more content, because it's like, I swear, once you get it and you just start practicing it and applying the stuff, OCD treatment, it really is as easy as accepting uncertainty, doing exposure response prevention to get to the point that that uncertainty that used to really bother you doesn't bother you as much anymore. And those instincts that you feel like you need to ritualize and you must do something to escape the emotional feelings that come along with an OCD spike, those just get weaker and weaker too. And really, that's it. I mean, the crux of treatment is to get to that spot of caring less by going through the ERP treatment. And of course, there's a million little things. There's a million little pieces of sprinkles you can put on the cake. But the big stuff really is pretty easy. But so what I'd like to talk to you guys about today is some of the outside of the realm of specific OCD treatment stuff that I find to be very helpful for my own mental health. And these are things you can try. Anything that I suggest, what I'd like you to do is have an attitude of, hey, maybe this will be somewhat helpful. I'll try it out without any huge expectations, and I'll see if it makes me feel better, if it makes my overall anxiety level lower, then great, then you can stick with it. But we want to be careful not to turn any of this stuff into some sort of ritual that it feels like you must do anything. You never want to feel like you must do anything for your OCD. Okay, and so I've compiled a bit of a list. I forget, there's maybe 5, 6, 7 bullet points on the list of these are the sort of all-encompassing pieces of the puzzle that I personally use. And number one, obviously, is exposure and response prevention. And that's just your cognitive behavioral main treatment for OCD. Second would be medication for people that are really struggling. They find medication can really help alleviate some of your symptoms and make it easier to do the ERP. The third, as you guys know, is mindfulness and meditation. And I'm not putting these really in any particular order. They're kind of in an order in my mind of what I think are the most beneficial. But I go back and forth with mindfulness. If you know my story, I was trying to do traditional ERP for years, and I just didn't have enough strength to finally accept uncertainty and to stop ritualizing until I started practicing mindfulness. It just seemed to make it easier for me. Okay, so ERP, medication, meditation. Next, I want to talk about diet. And again, I'm going to get into some controversial stuff here. I'm not saying that this stuff will fix anything, but there is a ton of research out there now between gut health and brain health, and eating certain foods that you might have some sensitivities to and what it can do to your brain. Now, I'm not a medical doctor. I can think, on the most surface level, my understanding of how this stuff works is basically, if I'm eating something my body doesn't agree with, eventually it makes its way somehow into my brain, and it makes my symptoms worse. Okay, that may not be how any of this works, but it's just how I view it. And so what I have found is when I'm eating clean, really eating a clean diet, it makes such a tremendous difference. And it's probably worth doing just some experimenting on your own. But my diet mainly consists of all sort of natural, a lot of plant-based whole foods. I definitely eat protein still. I eat animal protein. But I find, especially when I'm not eating a lot of processed foods, a lot of white flour foods like bread and cupcakes and all of that kind of stuff, if I'm limiting my sugar, especially my artificial processed sugar, that makes a huge difference for me. And so maybe I'll make another video on like what I eat typically in a day. But yeah, for the most part, my protein sources are eggs, chicken, turkey, and different kinds of fish or other types of seafood. And then I avoid a lot of grains. I don't eat a ton of nuts or seeds. I just, again, this is a personal thing for me. I find that when I do eat a lot of that stuff, it seems like I have some sort of sensitivity to it. So other like staples that I eat a lot of sweet potatoes. In the morning, I usually eat some type of berry for fruit, either blueberry or strawberry. Blackberries and raspberries are also extremely healthy. I do not drink coffee or any caffeine. I found, for me, made my symptoms worse. So I actually drink a decaf coffee because there are a lot of health benefits to drinking coffee. I drink that black. I don't put any coffee, creamers or sugars or any of that stuff in there. I actually put some, it's called Ceylon cinnamon. I think that's spelled Ceylon. Check out Ceylon cinnamon and all the health benefits for that. And I put that in my coffee. And then, yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's other natural types of just whole plants and vegetables and fruits. And yeah, when I eat that way, not only do I feel like my anxiety symptoms are lower, but my gut health is just noticeably better. It's amazing to me how many people I've talked to over the years that have digestion problems. And who knows, like, you got the chicken and egg dilemma of like, what comes first? Is it you have a bad gut and that's contributing to your anxiety, or you have anxiety and that's contributing to your bad gut? I have no idea, but I know that when I'm eating cleaner like that, my digestion is much better. I'm much more regular, you know? So check it out. I mean, try to do a little research on foods that typically trigger anxiety. And yeah, that might be of huge benefit to you. Next one is exercise, specifically in the form of cardiovascular exercise. I've lifted weights my whole life, but I really never did a lot of cardio. And again, I just find that my mental state is sharper, it's better, my anxiety is lower, my sleep is better when I'm doing at least 3 or 4 days of cardio, either bicycle running. I'll do a stair climber. If you can get out and just walk, that might be enough. But for me, I feel this something really powerful when I force myself to do like pretty hard cardio. So if I can do like high intensity interval training for maybe 15 minutes, or if I am running, I'll have at least a few really hard, 30 seconds or a minute of like almost all out sprinting. Again, I don't know what's going on in the brain, but I imagine something good is happening there with the neurons firing in your brain. Okay, so let's see, where are we at? ERP, medication, meditation, diet, exercise. Next up, and this is just, again, something you might want to try and see how you do with it, is the cold water therapy, cold water immersion, and sauna use. There's an awesome dude out there named Andrew Huberman who has a podcast. He brings on all kinds of specialists in certain fields. And there's been a couple episodes that focus on, all of the sort of health benefits, not just mentally, but physically, of things like cold showers or immersing yourself in like an ice bath. And on the opposite end of that is sitting in a hot sauna. And man, I'll tell you, like the cold water thing, to me, it's such a parallel to doing exposure response prevention. Your body does not want to do it. It is a shock. It's really hard to do. But there's this powerful sort of message you're sending to your body and your brain of like, hey, I can tolerate this discomfort. And so just that alone, even if I didn't do any research on, are there any actual physical or mental benefits, just the conquering of that discomfort, of staying there. And it works just the same way. You do tend to habituate. Now, taking like a full-on ice bath, it's a little harder. But staying in the cold shower for the first couple minutes, it's really difficult. And after 5-6 minutes, it's like, okay, I'm not feeling this as much. So there's really a strong parallel there. Here's what I would try. I like to do it first thing in the morning. And what most people who are really into it will say is, don't then turn the water on to warm yourself up. Just take your cold shower. If it takes 5 minutes, awesome. 7 minutes, great. Do everything you would do in your normal shower, just with really cold water. If you are concerned about like your physical health, bodybuilding, or anything like that, there is some research to suggest that it's better to do it earlier in the morning, and it's not good to do it right after your workout. So I like to do it early in the morning, and then I'll work out maybe a few hours later. And then the sauna, it's actually the opposite. Sauna, it's good to sit in after you've exercised, instead of before you've exercised. Again, you can look into the details of why that is. But so those four things that are sort of outside the realm of the typical stuff I talk about here: diet, exercise, sauna, and ice baths, have been an awesome thing to add. It might be something that you really like. Maybe it gives you enough of a boost to really stick with your ERP treatment. And so give that a shot. I do want to mention a couple other things about the diet thing. Since I've always had bad digestion, I swear, I can't line this up perfectly, but at around the same time that I had my OCD is when I noticed my digestion, like my stomach just got bad. I got IBS, and it was like that literally for years. And so one of the things I've been getting into is like probiotics and prebiotics, and maybe just adding some of that stuff to your diet might help you. And the 4 Ks are really good to remember. So that's kefir, if I'm saying that right, kefir, Kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, there's your K in sauerkraut, and then kombucha. I don't drink the kombucha because most of it's caffeinated, and again, I don't do the caffeine. But yeah, those things, those probiotics have been really good. And then there's a drink I like called Good Belly. I think you can get it at most stores. You can get a sugar-free version of it. And so again, when I'm doing all of this stuff, to me, I see that as sort of like my complete puzzle. I'm hitting it from every angle. And yeah, give it a try. If you want to try some things that are outside of just the ERP treatment and taking your medication, try this out. Worst thing is you're just living a healthier life. It's good for you physically. Okay, so really no harm there. And all right, hey guys, leave me a note, leave me a message. If you'd like to talk, I'm at ocdmindful@gmail.com. And as always, thank you. And hopefully I'll upload some stuff more frequently. Peace.